How's it going, guys? It is your boy Shawnee Dogs here, and we have a little bit of a different video today. So as I'm sure you guys know, I go on a lot of different people's accounts, whether it's for DLC weapons or to get nukes for them, and I see some common mistakes across everyone, all across the board, and I think we got to take it back to the basics. I made a video like this a very long time ago when I had a lot less subs, but I think it deserves some more attention, and I'm talking about settings. Everyone gets these wrong. There's so many that you need to change, and people just don't change them. I guess they don't really pay attention to the settings. Maybe you'll change your sensitivity once or twice, but besides that, no one really cares. It doesn't really make too much of a difference, at least in their eyes, but I think it makes a huge difference. The first thing, almost nobody has this disabled, is motion blur. If you have that enabled, that is like one of the worst things ever for gaming, at least. In movies, it looks really cool. You know, it blurs it out like how it should be. But for games, you do not want this enabled, like for any reason. All it does, that's gonna make it harder to see people that are like moving across your screen. You don't want that. So you want to disable this immediately. That is the first thing. Next, although I'm sure a lot of people don't change this, you want your safe area to be as small as possible, as close to the center of the screen as you can get it, because while you're playing, you're obviously looking at the center of your screen. That's where you're gonna be aiming, but your radar, this determines where your radar is, all the elements on your HUD. You want that as close in as possible so your eyes don't have to, you have to spend more time scanning with your eyes if it's further away on your screen, if that makes any sense. So you want that as small as possible. That's another basic. And the other thing, note, I've seen like 1 or 2 people that have this off. Your film grain, it starts off like right here. I don't know why they do this, but that is not good either. It makes like a gritty film across your screen, and again, you don't want that because that's just going to make it harder for you to see, and it doesn't help you for anything. So you want to turn that all the way off. And I also see a lot of people, their brightness, I don't know, maybe they think it makes them gods, but they turn it all the way up. They think they're going to be, I don't know, nocturnal animals or something. You don't need that. That just messes with your colors. As long as where it says not visible, you want to put it like 1 or 2 notches past that to where you can see. So when there's like a pitch black area, you'll still be able to see in it. That's the logic here. I leave it right there. So 2 notches past not actually being able to see it. And the bar is still not even halfway full. You don't need to crank up your brightness. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, language selection. I like to use French myself now. This doesn't matter. The next thing. Where are we at? Target assist. If you ever accidentally turn this off, please just make sure, because this is probably the most important setting, but it starts off enabled. Most people won't change it unless you have some mental issues or something. Make sure this is enabled. If you don't have that on, it makes it 100 times harder to hit shots. All right. Now, audio options. This is my personal preference. This doesn't really, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, but it can get kind of annoying. The music, especially in the menus, I don't know, something about the music in this game is super depressing. And when you're playing like Search and Destroy, if you're like the last one left or there's under a minute, it starts playing some hype music. You don't want that at all, because all that does is distract you from playing the game. You can't hear footsteps. It's gonna throw you off. So I turn it off. It does like detract from the game a little bit of the experience. But I'm not in it for the experience. I'm in it to win it. All right. Now, voice volume, I don't know. I get kind of annoyed with the announcers, so I turn them like to halfway. But that's just me. You can put them all the way up if you want to hear the callouts. And the volume, this is just for recording purposes. The Elgato records very loud, so I turn it down a little. But none of this is real important. You could put your mix preset to headphones. I've tried all of them. There's not like a huge difference between them. I just put it to headphones because I'm using headphones. Now, sensitivity, a topic that I've covered extensively. I have a little something that we're going to be opening up later in the video, a little care package, but sensitivity is very important. I've made videos on this. If you go on like the front page of my channel, there's I have a bunch of playlists out there, and one of them is best tips and tricks for Call of Duty, and I have quite a few videos on sensitivity because it is wildly important. I know a lot of people are like, oh dude, I want to be able to turn super fast. Let me crank this up to 14. That is probably the dumbest thing you can do. Obviously, you're going to be able to turn real quick, but the benefit is not worth it. You're so much better off playing at a lower sensitivity, just because you'll actually be able to aim. You're going to be able to hit a lot more shots. I'm sure even at like 8 and 9 sensitivity, you think you can control it. Obviously, you can be aiming in the right direction, but if you want to have like pinpoint accuracy, you want to play somewhere between 4 and 6. I'm one of those weirdos that doesn't line these up because I've looked with the vertical and horizontal. I feel like the horizontal moves a little bit faster, so to compensate for that, I put the vertical a little bit higher. So this is my setting, 4-5, but there's nothing set in stone. Some people might play on 2, some people might play on 6. It's preference. Most pro players, they play between 4 and 6, just as another point of reference. Now, vibration. This is another hugely important one. This starts off enabled, and if you're using, it doesn't matter any type of controller, I'm sure every type has vibration, you want to disable that. As like if you've been playing with vibration on this whole time, it's gonna feel a little bit weird at first playing with it off, but it does help tremendously. If you're trying to aim down the sight and you're getting shot at, your screen's gonna start going red, your controller's gonna vibrate, that's gonna throw off your aim quite a bit. If your vibration is disabled, you're not as affected by your screen turning red, and you can actually focus on your shot more. So I've had that disabled for years, and it really does help out your shot. Sprint cancels reload. I don't really need that because I have paddles on the back of my controller. If I want to cancel my reload, I'll just YY real quick, and that does it. I press a paddle on the back twice, and it does that, but maybe you might find this useful if you're using a regular controller. I just don't do it myself, and personally, even if I had a regular controller, I would not have this enabled. Flight inversion, I don't know anyone that plays with either of these inversions enabled. That's just a little weird. If you're a fighter pilot, I guess you would do that. And button layout. This is another very, very important one. I play on tactical. Now, this is the logic that I'm going to use here. If you have a SCUF controller, using an Xbox Elite controller, any of that stuff with actual paddles, you don't really need to change much of this. I would recommend playing on tactical. Now, if I were playing without paddles on the back of my controller, I would be playing on either bumper jumper, well actually bumper jumper tactical, because that's basically regular tactical, but now it's bumper jumper, or stick and move. Now, the reason for this is so that you can still actually jump shot. You're not put as that much of a disadvantage. The only problem, stick and move, you jump with your right stick, and that's the same stick that you aim with. If you're trying to do two things on that same right stick, it's going to make it a little bit harder. You're going to be able to jump, but it's going to throw off your aim a little because you're trying to click it while you're aiming. It's not exactly like a 100% solution. You can still have pretty good aim with it, but if anything, I would go with bumper jumper. You can't really use your equipment quickly, but if you're playing pubs, you don't need equipment. It's not necessary. I would say, like, if I didn't have paddles, I'd be playing on bumper jumper right now. But changing your button layout is very important. You want to stay competitive and do very well when you're playing Call of Duty. Now, that is going to be it for the settings. And there's actually the Zombies poster actually came out. It looks pretty cool. The celebrity guest is Elvira. I'll show that somewhere on screen, probably somewhere on the left. But I covered pretty much all the important things that I wanted to talk about. And now what I've got for you guys, I got a package in the mail from Control Freak. We're going to open up this bad boy and see what we got. So, if I knew how to open stuff, this would have been cracked open by now. But here we go. Control Freaks, guys. That is an aiming essential. I would say your first, like if you're trying to upgrade your setup, you want to purchase a headset first. I don't mean like a crazy $200 or $300 headset. I mean like 50 or 60 bucks, just because headset sound is wildly superior to TV sound. It makes so much of a difference. And then the second thing I would get is Control Freaks. They're like super cheap, so like for the price, they're probably the best advantage that you can gain. It's just I think the headset makes a world of difference. The Control Freaks are just for aiming. And I'm looking here, we got our Call of Duty Heritage set. And you know, I record these videos ahead of time, so if you're following me on Twitter, you've probably already seen these. They've been up and ready to go. Pretty awesome. But I will be using these. I haven't had new Control Freaks in a very long time. Mine are very worn down. So I'll see how these work. I hope that it's better. I haven't used any of the new Control Freaks but I'll get back to that later. And we also got some Control Freak grips, more grip, less slip, if you know what I'm saying. That can be used in many different fields. That's all I'll say. And the last thing, yeah, there's 3 things in here. I just read the package slip, is this nice little cable here. I don't know if you guys, if you're on Xbox or PS4, but if you're on Xbox, the cable that comes with both the Elite controller and the regular controller, I don't know, after a while it starts to like tangle up, it gets super stiff. So I'll be trying this out. I'm not sure how it'll work out. I know Control Freaks, like I mainly, you know, this is what you're in it for right here. These bad boys, that's what's gonna help out your aim. I haven't tried any of the other stuff, so I'll have to give it a go, see what it's like. But anyways, that is gonna wrap it up for this one. If you guys did enjoy or found it helpful, please be sure to drop a like. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you guys are brand new, and I'll see you in the next one. Also, I forgot to mention, I will be responding to any and all questions that you have in the comments. I'll try to my best to respond to as many as possible. Obviously, I probably won't get to them all because there's thousands of you guys, but I will answer the most important questions that I think need answering. So that is all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.